Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this Star Savior video. So in this Star Savior video, I'm going to break down the different parts of the Savior journey as well as how to optimize your runs for this game mode so that you can produce the best chipsets for your units and also discuss about the different pointers you need to take note for this one before you go into this game mode. So first of all, for today's video, we'll run through a run for ourselves as we break down the different pointers and showcase the end results of the chipset that we're able to produce at the easy difficulty. So some of you guys might have already passed chapter 8. So chapter 8 is where you unlock normal, and then for hard, I think it's chapter 18 once you clear it. So this easy, hard, and normal mode basically dictates the maximum stat of the different stat lines you can get. So 500 for easy, 750 for normal, and 1200 or 1250 for hard. So that's with regards to the different difficulties. But for the difficulty selection, the general playthrough is the same in terms of the different events to expect as well as how you want to optimize your builds before going in. So without further ado, I'll start the run. Now, before you begin the journey, first of all, as you guys can see right here, I don't have that many chipset built up because you don't actually need the most optimized chipset in the early game because once you go into the normal, you'll be farming a brand new set of chipset. So if you are just starting off in the easy mode, then just farm one which is good enough for you to push until the normal mode. So normal to hard will be the longest gap in terms of how long you take to reach it. So that's where you want to spend more time farming the normal one on manual. So for the easy side, you can easily automate the runs if you want to. But if you want to optimize your run, then this video is the one for you. Okay. Starting off for this character selection page, if the unit that you're training is not one which can sustain itself in the Savior journey, right, in the early game, then you want to select a strong unit that can carry that unit for that middle portion of the game. So in this case, most of the DPS with AoE as well as self-buff, they are insanely good. So I'll use Yunmina because this unit has the most stat blessing so far with the additional standard blessing and also pretty strong to carry me in the early game. So I put her in the left slot because this will be the first unit to be recruited. Then for the second unit, depending on how strong and how difficult the runs are, you can feature other stronger units or just choose a unit which gives you the best blessing. So in this case, I'm just going to choose this chip, the basic chip with 10 attack right here. Because like all my other chips are not attack centric. So that's that. I could also go for this for the additional health. I think I'm just going to go for Naru for the additional health. Okay. So these are the stats that we will get during all the different bonuses as well as the character recruitment side. So next, let's go on to the Arcana portion. So for the Arcana, you can choose up to 5 of them. And typically, like I mentioned before, it's a 3-2 combination. So 3 of the main stats you want to train and then 2 for the defensive stats, typically the HP stats. So there's also the 2-2-1. There's also 4 ones. So depending on the unit you're training, the passive that you need on the unit, you choose the best card for the unit. But typically, there are some insanely versatile Arcanas that can go really well for all units. So I mentioned those in another video, which I'll link in the description down below. So feel free to visit that video. So right now, I have some pretty good ones. So we have Ashera's one. Okay. We also have No Pain, No Gain, which is one of the best attack cards. So we'll go with this one. And in the early game, you don't need to level everything to level 40 to 50. Right, because for the early game itself, even without all these additional bonuses on all your cards, you'll be able to hit that 500 maximum point. So all these levels will become more important the higher the difficulty because you want to unlock all these additional effects. And this is where limit breaking the card later on will give you higher bonuses and allow you to get better training efficiencies. So that's with regards to this card. So if we take a look at all these Arcanas, we have the start of the journey effect, so potential point and bond point gain. Then we have the training effect efficiency. So this is where if this Arcanas, they are featured in the training, you get additional training effectiveness for more stat gain during the training runs itself. Then there's this sensory training effects, which comes into play once your Arcana reaches the higher level during the run. So this will give you a higher training efficiency, resulting in more stats. So we'll break this down further in the later part. Another thing to take note will be the journeys event. So these are events which can appear during your run, which will give you the boost stated during this details over here. So there are some Arcanas which are insanely powerful. I break them down before, so I'm not going to talk too much about them. So visit that video for the Arcana side of things. And without further ado, I think we can start with this one. Oh, yeah, so one more thing. For the auto journey side, if you're autoing the run, this will save you a lot of time. I think in the early game, it's okay to auto, right? Normal is where you want to start farming for your best chipset to optimize all the numbers. But let's say if you're autoing for the run, you want to do this combination so that you make sure that this min stats that you're trying to train will reach the maximum number, which is 500 for the easy and 750 for the normal. So that's with regards to this one, right? You also want to prioritize super sensory training because super sensory training gives you the higher percentages if you do proc it. And this is where higher percentages results in better overall stats for your units on the left-hand side. So this is one thing to take note of. Prioritize Arcana event reward options, I think is also a tick in most cases. So that's with regards to the auto side. And next, let's move on to the manual portion or the journey run in general. First thing first, for the items, right? At the start of the game, you always get one item that is specific to your unit. And you always get another item that will be beneficial for a few different classes of unit. And in this game itself, or in this game mode specifically, the items have this recommended tab. So in most cases, if a specific item is recommended, it will be the best one for your unit and you want to go for them, right? If there's no recommended items, then one thing that I'll look out for will be the potential points refund for the potential points for my skill addition later. So that's for this part. But in most cases, just choose the one that fits the best to your unit's kit, and that's typically the recommended items. So that's for the items portion. Now, for the step-by-step runs, first of all, this thing, very, very important because you typically want to make sure that this condition is either good or great or best so that you get the best training efficiency during all the training missions right here. So I'll run through first of all the training to see if there's any training that gives me a massive level up on all the Arcanas, because in the earlier game, you want to aim to level up your Arcanas to quickly unlock sensory training for the additional training efficiency. So another thing to take note of for the training portion is when you're training the stats, first of all, you need to decide which stats you want to train. So for Charles, I want to train strength, but at the same time, the maximum value is 500. So in the early game, I can afford to go for the vitality endurance to increase her defensive stats. So the stat portion depends on the unit that you're training. So you go break down the best stats for the individual unit. But for this part, typically in the early game, you want to look at this first to see if there's any training that can give you this kind of effect. So you get a very high boost and you are able to train up your Arcanas, right? If you don't have any good ones, then what you're going to do is you're going to go into quest to see if there's a quest that you can clear. Typically, if it's hard, I wouldn't bother attempting. If it's below 50 coin, I also won't bother attempting because it's just not worth the effort and the risk because you can actually fail and then this could lower your condition for your unit, which reduces the training efficiency. So let's move on to the training part because we have this amazing one. So let's go with the training. Okay, do take note of the success rate because there's always this percentage of failure. So we're going to skip this conversation. Very nice. We got some stamina recovery. So step 2, right? We run through the training once again, like I mentioned before. So the attack stat is good because we got Luna's card and then we got Ashera's card. So this is okay. Failure rate is 0. So if it's below 10%, I think you can take the risk. But I'll say in most cases, if you want to ensure that there's no failure in your training runs, because when you fail this, you actually lose a turn and then you lose the valuable stats that you could potentially get, right? So typically you want to ensure that this is 0, but 0 to 10, I think is a acceptable range and risk you can take. So that's for this one. But I don't think this is the best yet. So what I am going to do is I'm going to take a look at the quest, like I mentioned before. So right here, if it's normal, you can actually attempt to take the risk. And in fact, in the very first turn of the trial, it's okay to go for all these gold stuff, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So we'll do this. Okay, so we get this. We didn't get the 3 chests, but 75 is pretty good. Okay. And because we are currently in the good condition, it's still not the best yet. Like I want to maximize my training in Go. So the luckily we have the goal, so we are able to go for the quest. And right now we have the best condition. So now we have the highest training efficiency. So I run through all the quests once again. Nope. Anything below 50? Nope. Go into training. Very nice. Training with all these Arcanas. 223 over here. So let's train it. And right here, we are on the very last day of the first trial. And this is where we get the hunt quest. So typically, you want to make sure that by this point, you have sufficient overall level so you can clear this for the 80 ancient coin rewards. Because this is quite a lot. Like I mentioned, 80 coins is a lot. And you can use the 80 coins to buy for items later. So this is where we are going to accept it. So you want to make sure you can do it and then clear this. Right, you don't need 3, but if you can get 3, that's good because it's plus 30 coins right here, a lot of them. And let's skip this conversation. So you get an item and then you'll get a boost to your mood as well and some potential points. Pretty good stuff. So we are in the most ideal mood situation. Okay, stamina recovery is pretty sweet. So right here, we're going to help her. So this event is always going to be there. Lislet daily routine for additional ancient coins plus a boost. And now we have the trade, right? So the very first round of trade is where we get a discount on all the items that we purchase. And this is where, when you actually do all the quest runs for the ancient coins, you actually get more values of these purchases because you're able to potentially get 1 or 2 more of these items for even more stats for a better rank point for easier clear later. So even though all these stats are not the most optimal, I'm going to buy it because like this will give me more stats. And then I can focus on other stats for training. So there are some items that will be unlocked from the shop, such as this portable fan right here, which will give you an in-battle effect and also an outside battle effect for certain events. So for the portable fan, it's used for a certain weather on the beach, if I remember correctly. So if it's too hot, it will cause the condition for your units to be lowered. So this is where you want to buy this so that you get this passive during the battle and you're able to get the potential point refund and also the ability to clear those mini missions or random RNG encounters when it occurs. So for the items portion, as you play through this game modes multiple times, you'll slowly figure out what items are needed for the various event. But portable fan is one which is quite often. There's also one which is the blue tickets one, where you're able to choose your price from Listlet. So that's that. Those are the few stuff which always comes around. So if you're doing the hot spring mission, then I think there's a handkerchief which is quite important. So with regards to the secret training manual, this is a very good early game purchase because it gives you additional EXP on all the training for even more stats. So the goal of Savior Mission is to make sure you get the most stats of all these numbers right here. So you get the maximum stat boost and make your characters as strong as possible with the passive. So this is not the best, so I'm going to skip it. None of this is really good for her, so let's skip it, see whether or not we can get one that's really good. So this is one of the other items that I'm talking about. Listlet's lottery ticket. So if you get the lottery event, then you will need this to actually participate in that for the rewards for all the ancient coins or all the boosts. So that's for this one. We're going to buy it because this will help us in battle. Ideally, I wanted to buy this, but unfortunately, we did not have enough gold. So we're just going to skip it, unfortunately. Let's go into the trial. So this is where the ancient coins comes in. Very important stuff. Okay. So for this part, we're going to speed through everything. There are certain events which are constant mainstay in this game. So I'll point them out later if we do encounter them. So for this part, it's a rinse and repeat for all the steps I mentioned. Now, before we move on to the next step, this stamina system is important because this stamina will dictate the success rate for your training, right? So the lower it goes, the higher the failure rate. So once you reach somewhere in the middle, I think it's ideal for you to use the rest feature. So for myself, like I mentioned earlier, the ancient coin can be used to purchase for items or used for the meditation room for maximum recovery. So this will give you the maximum efficiency in recovery. But let's say in the event if your condition is lowered, then you actually want to use quarters to restore the condition, because there's two ways you can restore the condition to best. One through the quarters, or you use the items from the shop purchase. So that's for this one. But for this one, we want to maximize our stamina gain. So we'll use the meditation rune. So as you guys see in the recovery, there's actually a range, 60 to 80. So typically the halfway point mark, slightly over that, would be the best time you visit the meditation room. So that's with regards to this part. So we are fully charged up. We go back to training. So you can see the failure rate is 0. Double check if there's anything that we want to train. Okay, not the best. Not the best, unfortunately. So this is where we go into training again and see if there's one which we want to train up. So I want to train up Lacey's no pain, no gain. Okay, pretty good stuff. So let's train this up. Okay. So some of you guys might be wondering, hey Zeee, why are you not focusing on one specific training option? Like, why are you not focusing on the tech? Because as you progress in the game, right, first of all, you'll get more manuals along the way. And there will be a few events which boost up specific training types. So we'll talk more about that once we reach it. So that's with regards to the first part. I'm going to rinse and repeat and then skip to the next portion. Okay, so now we are done with the second part. So for the second round, as you guys can see, there's no more discount. So typically, I won't refresh too much because I want to keep some ancient coins or old coins to be used for specific events in the subsequent parts. So if I do encounter those events, then I'll talk about them. But right here, we're going to skip the battle. So we are at the healthy enough rank point. So we can clear this with the 3 chests and get all the rewards right here. So let's continue. Tap, tap, tap. So this one is actually a pretty long run. Typically, it's like 20 minutes per run. So you don't actually have to do that much. So we have our first recruit after the second trial run. So this one will give you the stats. So this additional stats would be something that you factor in when you're training your character as well. So same thing, this is a fixed event, Arcana right here, which will give you the training bonus on these stats. So if you can, you want to train all this training to get all these additional bonuses. So let's move on to this one. Okay, so we just got a really nice super sensory training tab right here. So if we go into this, you see this glow up right here. This is a sign that super sensory training is activated. So this sensory training effect right here. So this gives you the additional efficiency, resulting in higher percentages and higher number on the left hand side. So if we compare this is 160, these are the numbers. This is 223, these are the numbers right here. So yes, some of the stats that you prop on your sensory training might not be the most optimal for your unit, but ideally you want to do this to ensure that you get a higher rank, and then you can pivot into the ones that you want to train later. So right now we don't actually have good Arcanas on this one, although Luna's one is quite subjective, but we do have this sensory training, so let's train this. Okay. As an attacker, Charlotte wants at least 500 attack, so we are gonna pay to solve it. Okay. So we are consistently keeping our stamina high and keeping ourselves in the best condition. Another vitality sensory training. Okay, no strength training bonus, so let's just do this. Or actually, we can actually check the quest to see if there's anyone that's good. Okay, so no. So unfortunately, same thing. Rinse and repeat. Okay, we're going to continue doing the same thing that we mentioned earlier, and then we're going to move to the next part. Okay, so we have come to the midway mark for the preparation. So this is where we travel to the other training camps. So there's the Kalaid camp, and there's also the beach camp, Flora. So as an attacker, we chose Flora because it gives us the boost to our attack as well as our accuracy or effect accuracy right here. So if you're a tanker or HP based unit, then it will be Kalaid, which is the hot spring side of things. So for this part, right now we are at half stamina. Not sure whether or not we should take the risk. I think I'm gonna do a quest to get some coins. So there are certain times where you need to make a choice on your action, because the next event could change things by either recovering your HP or give you more ancient coins. So this is the event where we trigger the tropical night event. So we use the handy event. Okay, so this is good because we recover some stuff and we get bonus stats. So this is for the beach side of things. Go back into training. Okay, we get the boost here, but I think this is better. So one thing to note for Lisette as well as I think the other unit, Lisa, right? Their additional levels don't actually benefit your training that much. So if you have a choice between them or your Arcanas, always choose your Arcanas. So that's with regards to this part. I don't think I need focus on Charlotte. So this is not actually a good training for her, unfortunately. So for this one, I think I'm gonna take this opportunity to recover. So we're gonna use meditation rune. So we are in the best condition to train for the next few run. The beach as well as the hot spring is. Oh no. Okay, so this is another event I'm talking about. So we have a grab a good meal. So this will give you the recovery as well as the condition upgrade. I don't think it matters too much. Then if you have additional concentration or enough concentration, then you can get some stats. But unfortunately, we do not have, so we're missing this event. Okay, just some potential. Okay, so training, strength effect, as you guys can see, sensory training plus the additional bonuses, massive numbers right here. So we'll take this opportunity to train out our strength because it's actually still really low. 300 plus is very low. Okay, but training is still a lot, so let's continue. Okay, so we are in the final moments of our Savior run, left with 3 more turns. So typically in the last part, right, there's actually a stamina recovery event on your character, which is guaranteed. So I think with this amount of stamina, we don't actually need to rest, and we can fully train for maximum stat boost. And by this point, you want to make sure that your primary stats that you're trying to train is maxed out. So right here, let's take a look at this one. And we can do this. This will just max out everything, but I think it will be a little bit wasted here, unfortunately. I think we can do this. And then the subsequent training will just be on vitality. This is where you see all this boost in your Arcanas gives you the training efficiency increase and also the boost from all this regional training bonus. So this will max out my attack, and then the next few runs will be training on vitality because my attack would be maxed out. So at this point, I think all the events that gives me attack, they are already exhausted. So we'll focus on the defensive stats for Charlotte to max out this card. Yeah, so this is the event that gives us the stamina. So for this part, yeah, we're gonna go with vitality because we already maxed out on strength. No point training strength. Like it's already maxed out, so we're not gonna get more. So training vitality will give us more on the vitality and endurance. Or we can do quests so that we can buy more stuff at the shop. Not a good event, so let's go with vitality instead. Yeah, so now I think the last one should also be a vitality training. Kind of wasted there. Okay, so no additional bonuses. Let's see if there's a quest for the monster fight. Oh no. So last but not least, just one more check before we select the mission. Okay, let's just go with vitality here. No additional bonus, but as you guys can see, we have quite a good grade on our vitality as well. Okay. So various RNG factors as well as event occurrence can change your outcome. But more importantly, this is the general playstyle. So this is the final shop purchase. Do I want this 30 points? So you can actually try to upgrade your potential. So these are the potential from the Arcanas. So this is no pain, no gain. This is maximum HP, pretty good boost. Do I want 3 more speed? I think we can. So we're gonna buy that because even if we refresh, we're probably not gonna get anything better. So 30 ancient coins for 30 potential point, pretty good stuff. And then with that, we can increase talent for speed. Okay, so next, let's just finish the run with this trial over here. So once you are done with everything, right, you will get the final stat boost. Objective complete. And that's it for this run. Okay, so let's take a look at the final results. So these are all the different potential points that are refunded right here. Okay, 172. So with 172 points, I think we're gonna go with crit rate because yeah, we're using Charlotte, right? So let's go with crit rate. Okay, and that's it for this run. And the journey. I think this should be my new best on Charlotte. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Is it a new best? Because this was with the upgraded no pain no gain, and it's pretty optimized. Okay. Journey ended. Okay, nice. New best on Charlotte. Okay, not the best. Yumina had a better number. Yeah, my Yumina was super lucky because there was no negative events, but 4006 is actually pretty good already. So this will be my upgraded character chipset that I put on my unit. So we go into this one, and then we equip the stronger one. So you can see the stats change over here, and also the better passive abilities from the potential. So that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys!